All right. Hello, everyone. Happy Sunday. It is good to virtually see you, kind of. Yeah, I'm just going to keep going. But hey, everybody, what is up? We are here with the fabulous and multi talented Olivia Adams, who is in our upcoming production of She Kills Monsters. So,
Woo!
Olivia, welcome.
Hey! Yeah.
We're just gonna jump right into things. So if you have any questions for Olivia, y'all know how this works. So go ahead and throw a comment, into our chat as we're discussing and just having a good old time. So Olivia, why don't you start off by telling us a little bit about yourself?
All right. I'm Olivia Adams. I have been doing productions at Elm Street for for almost 9 years now.
Woo.
Whew, yeah. I've I started off with a love of theater through on Netflix. There was the 30th or 40th anniversary of Phantom of the Opera, and I fell in love with it. I would sing it around our house at like 8 years old. My dad said, "Fine, you know what? You're just gonna audition for a show." And I said, "What?" So I did, and it kind of just took off from there. Of my love for theater, not just performing, but like props, costumes, tech, all that stuff. So
Yeah, and you have a very expansive resume, especially for someone your age. Like you're starting your senior year tomorrow.
yeah, this is
So
I'm 17. It's crazy.
yeah, you've kind of been able to do a little bit of everything. Can you kind of walk through, aside from being on stage, which we'll cross that bridge when we get there. But in terms of like the behind the scenes, part of like the production aspect, what kind of things have you done?
Well, the first production that I was a part of in the tech booth, because I think the tech booth was my first place that I was a part of off stage, was Rapunzel at Elm Street. I think 2015. I might be wrong on that, but 2015, 2016, somewhere around there. And I did tech booth was set up a little bit differently back then, so I did the normal stage lights instead of LEDs. I dipped my feet into the world of tech and I fell in love with it. So I did that for about 2 years. I went about 2 years without being on stage because I fell head over heels for tech. I was ASMing for any show that I could get my hands on. I did a lot of props. Anytime that somebody needed help with props, I would say, "Yeah, let's do it." So it wasn't until probably my freshman sophomore year where I started going back into stage work. But I did ASMing, sound, lights, props. I helped my mom with costumes when she needed it. Um, a lot of things.
All the things, which is really cool to get to say that you've been able
Yeah.
to do all of that. Like kudos and pun right here, certainly intended props to you for doing that. This is not necessarily a question, but our our lovely friend Chant Martin, gave us a comment. She says she can do it all. Resume is better than mine will ever be. We stand, and
Oh
yes,
my god.
you stand.
Oh, I love that woman. I love that woman. I love you. I'm her biggest fan, and that's no joke. I love Chant with all of my heart.
Oh, for sure. Chant is fantastic.
Oh my god, yeah.
Is there a favorite element of the more behind the scenes or like creative process roles that you like? Is there one that you're like, yes, this is my area, like this is where like I thrive?
I would say so. For the past 3 years, I've been a part of summer camp for Elm Street. And every year I've been a part of the tech or support team at least once. And I love designing lights, because especially for camp, because camp is your time to just branch out and do what you want to do with lights, as long as the kids can be seen, obviously.
Yeah, very important.
But being able to like go on every single other beat with your light cues and a lot of haze and making the lights look cool and making the kids look really cool is it's always really fun to see the kids faces light up whenever pun intended light up whenever they see the lights on stage, because every Wednesday or Thursday when you're back there in the tech booth designing the lights, at least one of the kids goes, "Whoa, look at that!" And it's just the best reaction. So lights is definitely something that would be something that I would love to branch into.
Yes, and you do a fantastic job at lights. With camp, I think probably, because I know you were very proud of it, because you told me and Brian to check it out. During There's No Business Like Show Business.
Oh my God.
Weeks, and you did a lighting effect, because the line is "Dun, when your heart beats like a drum."
Yeah.
And then you did it as like a heartbeat, like you literally did a heartbeat with the lights, and I thought that was like the coolest thing.
It was so much fun. I love, my biggest joy is whenever I see, so Brian Gamble is the production manager, if you don't know that, but he helped me grow my love for lighting and sound and all that jazz. So whenever I have a certain lighting cue that I think is just so cool, I immediately go, "Brian needs to see this." So whenever he looked at me and said, "That was actually really cool," I was like, "Oh, yes, I did it."
You're like, I feel like I've done my job. Like this is what it's about.
Exactly.
So flipping to the other side of things, you've also been involved as a performer. Can you talk a little bit about some shows that we may have seen you in?
Yeah. So I recently did a lot of performances. I was first in Elephant and Piggies, We Are in a Play, as a squirrel. God, I love that cast. That is probably one of the casts that I miss the most, because that was just such a fun group of people. It was a small group, but we were mighty, which is so much fun. Then I did, oh God, what did I do? Christmas Carol. I did Christmas Carol. I was an ensemble member, and honestly, that is the show that I want to do again so badly, because being an ensemble member in Christmas Carol is such a dream, because you're running around backstage, and although there's a lot of like quick changes and a lot of things that you have to do, there's a sense of calmness of like, this is going perfectly, and I feel totally okay with what is happening right now, which I don't feel like I get a lot from other shows. So ensemble in Christmas Carol, so much fun. And then I was in Mary Poppins Jr., so much fun. Oh, that director was just so amazing.
Oh, stop. He was garbage. Like,
honestly. No, don't do that to me. Don't do that. No, because that's not true. So I was in Mary Poppins Jr. I was Katie Nana, Bird Woman, and Miss Andrew. That is probably, and this is no joke, that is probably the show that I miss the most, because of the friendships that I made throughout that show and the friendships that grew in that show. That's the most recent show that I think, that's the most recent show that anyone would have seen me in. It is so much fun just being on stage, because once you're on stage, everything else in your mind just dissipates.
Mm-hmm.
And you are that character. You dive head first into that character. Once you step on stage, you are a different person most of the time I forget there's an audience there because you get so invested throughout a rehearsal process of the character, whatever character it is you're playing. And I experienced that the most with Bird Woman, because Bird Woman was just, she was everywhere. She was sprinkled in different moments in the show. Funny moments like in Jolly Holiday with Mary, her
Little Bird Woman dance.
Jamming out with her basket.
But then she breaks your heart on the steps of the cathedral. Like, you're like, oh my gosh.
The moment that is ingrained into my mind from that performance was opening night. Allison Hodges was sitting front row. Oh, I might cry. But she was sitting there, and there's a moment in the song, it's the very end, where I start crying because, you know, the kids come and sit with Bird Woman. They finally kind of understand, like, she's doing her own thing. She's doing things not for just for her, but for other people. And singing that last line, and my eyes go to Allison, and I can see her. We make eye contact, and my heart just starts pounding. And I remember just tearing up. Like, it wasn't just Bird Woman crying, it was me as well. And the overwhelming feeling of, like, I'm doing this, you know? I'm here, I'm performing for a full house, and seeing Allison's face was just kind of like a warm reminder of, you've got this. So Mary Poppins was probably my favorite experience for a show. So, yeah.
Yeah. So Olivia, I'm gonna kind of put you on the spot right now because you're also in a little bit of a different situation than like a lot of our other cast members are in, you know, that they've went off and like they've gotten, you know, their degrees in like performance or, you know, or you know, what have you. And as you're kind of preparing for your senior year to start tomorrow, which still blows my mind, that the school is starting again and we're going off on that journey. As you're, you know, preparing for your final year of high school, is there anything that like you're looking at that you want to do, or you have like ideas or like options, or like, yeah, what kind of where do you see yourself, or what would you like to do after graduating?
So ideas for college is hard, especially ever since I was 8 years old, my mindset has been theater. That's what you're going to do. You're going to do theater. And freshman year, it was, I'm going to do writing. I'm going to help write scripts, and I'm going to do all of the creative writing stuff. That's what I'm going to do. But then sophomore year was, I'm going to major in tech theater. That's what I want to do. And then junior year, it was I'm actually getting better at performing. I think I might want to do major in musical theater and actual performances. And now I'm here and I've got so many different, it's hard to pick just one path is my thing. And there are so many ideas that I could come up with of, I would be totally happy and I would feel secure with this option. But my thing is more so, I have all of these options that I just don't know what path I want to take yet. And it's nice because the senior year, I feel like my senior year is going to be a little bit more relaxed because I'm doing online school. So I don't think I'm going to be too stressed out to the point to where I can't even think about college. But I'm down the path of, I either want to major in musical theater and continue on down that path, or I just want to take at least 1 year to collect myself and figure out what I truly want to do, where my heart truly lies, and follow that path later. So
Yeah, no, for sure. And I think, no matter what you choose, what's going to be best for you.
mm-hmm.
And at the end of the day, there really is no right or wrong path. And I think that's okay.
Yeah.
Like, I think yeah, you definitely have such a varied skill set that, you're able to be, to be and do whatever it is that you want, and be able to, be more, not a Jack, but a Jill of all trades, as it were. But
yeah,
no, I feel like that's definitely, yeah. You got options and you've got time.
Yeah.
Like our good friend Chant, she's piping in. She's given us everything that we need. She says gap years are the best years. So, you got a good support system. Siobhan says love you.
Oh.
Yeah. Also, we're not going to tell Brian, but Chance says, I stand this combo. I need Olivia to have a Tea Tuesday special segment for the kids. Please endorse this idea, XOXO vibrancy.
I do endorse this idea.
So we might have to kick Brian out and say,
just for a day.
I'm sorry, like he is replaced.
You win some, you lose some,
Exactly. Olivia, let's switch gears a little bit, and I would love to hear you talk about She Kills Monsters, which is our upcoming production that is now 100% digital.
Woo!
And yeah, tell us about the role that you play in the show and how that kind of goes throughout the world of the story.
Yeah, so I am playing the narrator. So I'm excited because for me, this is a little bit different of what I would normally do, because narrator, she has a lot of like big chunks of she has a lot of monologues and a lot of things that are said just directly towards the audience. So my reactions are more so towards the audience. I'm talking to the audience, not to someone on stage, which is nice. It's a good change. Narrator, so what I have in my head is like, there are 3 levels to the show. It's the normal world that Agnes resides in. It's the D&D Chuck Biggs world, and then narrator, who's telling the whole story in one. So narrator, she starts the show off talking about what actually, telling you a little bit of information about both Tilly and Agnes, what their personalities are like, how they're so very different to the point to where they're in 2 complete separate worlds, just to help set that up and help the audience kind of understand, like, these sisters, although they're related by blood, they have no relation at all to each other. So it helps sets up the story and helps the audience understand this is why Agnes feels the way that she does, of the fact that Tilly is gone and she has no true memories of her other than the journal that hold the module, the game module. So that's the narrator. I'm an ensemble member also. So I do a lot of fighting, which is so much fun because this is not really my first experience with fighting choreo, but it's my first experience doing it for an actual show, not just like for a workshop or for a class or anything like that. Like, it's an actual show that I'm performing. So it's fun. I'm excited.
Yeah, what's the fight experience been like? Because there's a good chunk of fights throughout the show. I think, at least last time I talked with Zach, I think it was up to like 11, maybe.
Oh God, yeah, probably. Well, with all of the Joe Brad fights or the Steve and Kobold fights, it's probably up to more. So I've really only, there's something called ThesCon where a bunch of thespians, honorary thespians, get together at Columbus State University for like a weekend, and they get to watch performances, musicals, plays, whatever, as well as do workshops and classes and learn about like better your voice, better your singing voice, better your acting, better your dancing. And then comes all of the side things like tech, or learn how to do lights, learn how to do sound, learn a little bit about stage makeup, all that jazz. And I always did the stage fight and stage choreo classes because I've always been interested in that aspect of theater, because it's so fun to watch fights on stage. Because when you hear the noises and the sound effects that the people on stage are making, it makes the actual experience like 10 times better, because you're like, oh my God, did he actually get punched? Oh, it freaks you out. And being able to be on the opposite side of like actually being in a fight for a show is really cool. And for anyone who knows Zach, Zach is so much fun to work with. I don't know a better director, in my opinion. He is so sweet, and he's so open to literally anyone's ideas. Like, at some point in the rehearsal process, Emily plays Tilly. Me and Emily were sitting on stage because we were trying to work through a fight that hadn't been choreographed yet. And she was sitting there, and we were trying to get it to where James, who's Orcus, would pick up someone. And she just starts chanting, like, Brad on Joe on James. And I was like, Emily, what? If he hears this, he will take this idea and run with it. And we tried it. It did not work, because no. But the fact that Zach is so open to anyone's ideas, literally anyone's ideas, to put on stage is so cool. So he's more so looking for, he wants you to be comfortable on stage. He doesn't want you to be doing something that you wouldn't feel comfortable with doing. So like, for me, I'm a beginner, obviously. I've never truly done stage fighting. I've never actually done it with a sword, which I do in the show. So the first question would be, what do you feel like you should do after you do this move? And I would show him what I'd feel comfortable with, and he would go, okay, so let's spice it up a little bit, zhuzh it up, and add a little bit of spice, you know? And we would, and it would look good, but it would also feel good. And I think it's having Zach as the fight choreographer for the show as well is really nice, because, especially for a beginner, it's really nice because he more so wants to hear, are you comfortable with it? Do you like the way it feels? Do you like the way it looks? Like, how does it look on stage? How does it feel to you? All of that. So it's really nice to have him as a fight choreographer for someone as a beginner. So it's been really fun.
Yay, I love that. So, yeah, we get to see a lot of fight choreography throughout the show, and then we're very much immersed in this world of Dungeons and Dragons, which we do have a question that's been posed. Oh, actually, two questions now. I'm gonna go with the D&D related one.
Okay.
This is from Kyle, so we appreciate Kyle's input and throwing this out to you. But Kyle would like to know, what's your favorite thing about D&D?
Oh God. I'm gonna go with a serious answer and kind of a funny answer. My funny answer would be I was introduced to D&D about a year and a half ago when my brother, about 20 minutes before the session started, my brother, who is the DM for the campaign that I'm a part of, he looked at me and said, Olivia, roll up a character really quickly. You're going to be a part of a campaign. And I was like, what? So I rolled up a character, fell in love with the game, and then started watching something called Critical Role. Critical Role is kind of like, as they say, nerdy voice actors playing Dungeons and Dragons. It's a lot of fun to watch. And one of the people, Laura Bailey, has been called the Critical Role's Goblin Dice person, which means she buys so many dice and just hoards them to herself and has like a bag full, like a giant bag full of dice sitting on the desk on the table while playing D&D. And that is what I have become for my party, for my campaign. I have too many dice.
All the dice.
All the dice, literally. It's that is probably one of my favorite parts of D&D is finding all of these really cool dice. Apparently there's like real 24 karat gold dice that people can buy. It's like it goes above and beyond like dice. But my serious answer would be the fact that D&D, you see it really well in She Kills for me. D&D is its own world. It's its own fantasy world that you get to step into once you sit at the table and you're playing the game. And the really cool thing for me is the fact that I have been able to better my acting skills through a game, which is so cool because there has been a moment, I think it was actually our last session that we had, one of our characters, he died, but there's a spell that you can revive a character on. So we revived him, and the way that my brother has set it up is that 3 people have to come up to the table where the person is laying dead, and you have to present the person with something, a poem, words, something of importance to you, to this character. And my character, she has, bad father issues. Father's not nice to her. And this character in this party, in her party, was the real first father connection that she had had. So I was fully in tears at the table, just like, I need you to come back. And the really cool part was, so the person whose character was dead on the table, he wasn't supposed to be in the room. He was supposed to be, we have a dining room and then a living room, so it's open so he can hear what they're saying, but we're not supposed to be able to see him. So he was sitting in the living room, and apparently the moment that I started to cry, he started to cry. So for me, D&D isn't just a game. It's something that brings people together that you wouldn't even expect. I never expected some of the people who are a part of the D&D campaign that I'm a part of to ever be like probably my closest friends that I've ever made. And just being able to make these raw connections through characters in a fantasy world, being able to make these life-lasting connections with other people is the best part about D&D. It's absolutely insane to me. So.
Love that. And while we're on a fuzzy note, the best segue in the world. So Brian would like to know, because I don't think we touched on this, and your whole like big arsenal of tools and like experiences that you have. We did not talk about that you do some pretty sweet makeup design. And you've done, like you did makeup um for Mary Poppins, and then also the past 2 years you've done Marley's makeup, so to make that look all spooky and scary. So for you, what is your makeup design process like when you're given a character? How do you go from okay character and then now like translating that to like okay this has to work to like be
on an actual person? Yeah. So my first thing is that I always look up photos of like reference photos of like, say with Marley. Marley was more so of a looking up. What does an undead person look like? What does that look like?
Oh, that must have been a really fun Google image like search, right?
Yeah. I have some odd Google searches because of the makeup that I do. For those of you who do not know, I do a lot of gore SFX makeup more so than like glam and such. But for me, I have to be able to do it on myself and feel comfortable with the makeup on in order for me to do it on someone else. Because if I'm not comfortable, they're not going to be comfortable in it. So why would I make them wear it when I know this doesn't feel right? So I look up reference photos. I take certain pieces from those reference photos and put it together on myself. And then I send it to the director of a photo of myself and say, what do you think of this? What do we need to change? So it's a lot of looking up photos, doing it on myself, sending it to the director sending back the notes, taking those notes and doing it again, sending it back to the director says, that looks great. So.
And will we get to see any of your makeup designs in She Kills Monsters?
You will. I'm very excited because I have always wanted to do. So a lot of shows, you don't get the opportunity to do gory looks, and if you've seen my Instagram page, you know that's the majority of what I do. Like my hands are currently stained red because I was working on a heart that we are going to be using for She Kills Monsters. So She Kills is just a great experience overall for me because I finally get to do a show with gory looks. I get to make a throat. I also have made a heart for evil Tina to rip out of someone's chest. There's a lot of things that I get to do. Fantasy makeup, evil demon makeup. And then I get to make molds of like throats and hearts and all of these things. And it's just, I also got to make Steve's arms to rip off. It's just so much fun. There are so many pieces of the puzzle for makeup that I get to do for this show, which is so much fun.
Oh, good. I know. I am so excited to see that come to life, and I'm sure everyone who is watching cannot wait to experience She Kills Monsters from the comfort and safety of their own home. Because if you have not heard, y'all, we are doing this show 100% digital. It's going to be available not this Friday, but the following Friday, which is April 14th. And it's going to be good through, or I'm sorry, not April. Oh my goodness.
Say April. I didn't even notice.
I didn't either until Steven was like, so scratch that. August, because this is the month that we are in, everyone.
Oh my God, it's August.
Yeah, time is like not relevant at all anymore. But August 14th through August 23rd, that's when we're going to have the digital experience available for She Kills Monsters. So if you're familiar with how we did Helvetica, it's going to be very similar to that. We're going to be adding a couple other things to make it a fully fledged experience with like some additional like supplemental materials that are exclusive to those who are purchasing a show pass, because that's how we're doing this production. We're doing it as a pay-per-view model. So it's just $20 for your household. You're able to pre-order your tickets right now, and then on the 14th, if you do that pre-sale option, you will go ahead and get a link that has a special password just for you that you'll enter, and you will get not only the show, you'll get our program, and then like some other things that we're going to be throwing in there for fun as well. So like interviews and maybe a special behind the scenes video kind of thing like that. We have a couple tricks up our sleeves.
Ooh.
So don't want to give too many away. But on that note, again, please check out She Kills Monsters. I want to give a huge thank you to Olivia for joining me on this Sunday afternoon, and just for being the rock star, yes, the amazing person, the rock star that she is, and all that she is involved with at Elm Street. So Olivia, thank you so much for taking the time. And we will see everyone soon. Until then, please stay safe, stay healthy, stay sane, and we will talk to you later. Bye.